a policy plan document, and at the time of adoption, implementation or rezoning, if that's the will of the board to do a comprehensive rezoning at the time of the plan, then that would be a consideration at that time to look at the existing zoning again as part of that cleanup process, as a consideration.
Okay. So in regard to, I'm sorry, you're the guinea pig for the day, I think, here as we get started. But so when requests come up, we hear the input. You're not looking for direction on any specific parcel at this point. Is that correct?
What the public comment period is intended to do is to take all of these comments and concerns, and then in the period between November 3rd to we're looking at mid-January or the beginning of January to have all staff and PMC comments on both the draft general plan and EIR. We'll take all of these into consideration, all of your comments, the Planning Commission's comments and concerns, and then forward the recommended changes to both the EIR and plan in a red line version for public review and for your consideration, and that would then be the final. And at that point, so all of these comments and concerns that are being expressed today and throughout the last month or two will help form the final version.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry about all the process questions. Thank you.
Supervisor Colfax.
We're going to have a long day if we jump in like I'm going to do here, but since this is brought before us, I think it raises some real questions about Section 6.0 alternatives. Because when you go down that list, you see different impacts: exposure to toxic air contaminants, global climate change, cultural resources, loss of availability of locally known this or that, and so forth. But I don't have any information specifically on the EIR that I can evaluate that goes beyond what we talked about back in January, February. And so my general question here would be, can we bring forward at this time a request that we have some specific information from the perspective of the environmental impact on each of these projects, because that would move us along. Otherwise, 6.0 is superfluous. We get a sense of how these scattered projects all over the map are impacting the county, but we're not getting a report on what the impact of this specific project, or in another one I have before me, what impact it is having on the specific locale, because your impacts are not going to be affecting what's happening in Elk, for example. And what's happening in Elk is not impacting in the same way it's going to if it were in Covelo. So I just throw that out as a general concern about the EIR handling of this set of projects or corrections to the land use map.
Thanks, Supervisor. Supervisor Pinches?
The way I see this meeting here basically concentrates on the Group 3, because the 1 and 2 is in the project EIR, and Group 3 is included in the EIR alternative, whereas Group 4 is not even included in the EIR. So basically the discussion gets down to the properties that are, the way I see it, that are in Group 3. And to further than that, does that mean that if there's not strong opposition to a particular parcel in Group 3, that you're going to put it in the project alternative? Is that kind of a fair assumption?
We've received comments to date on properties within both the Group 1 as well as
yeah, well, we can
2 and
receive
3
comments
and 4.
today on any part of the,
yes.
of the general plan. But I'm just saying, kind of what it's boiling down here today, it's really, it looks to me like we're going to concentrate on the Group 3.
That could well be, yeah.
Just a clarifying comment regarding the alternatives analysis, and it maybe doesn't completely answer all the board's questions here, but the purpose of the alternatives analysis for CEQA purposes in the EIR is you're looking at alternative land use plans as compared to your proposed land use plan. So it's kind of an apples to apples comparison. You don't sub-break out little areas of the county and evaluate to the total. And just to let you know, in the case of alternative 3, it shows basically the same environmental effects. It's no worse, no better than your proposed general plan. So just to offer that information
And
to the
that's what
board.
section 6.0 is all
Yes,
about.
there's actually a table at the very end of section 6 that summarizes the impact conclusions.
Thank you for that point of clarification. Supervisor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Assuming that we're going to be looking possibly today at a number of these, do we have any maps that will delineate current land use designations and ones that would be being proposed? I mean, in this scenario right here, all we're looking at is acreage, right?
Staff has prepared a set of 4 maps for each application. The first of which goes through and actually just shows the general plan designations and then the request. The second one does parcel sizes. The third one looks at land uses surrounding the applicant. And then the fourth one is an aerial overview.
Pretty piece of property.
And then if a question arises to something that's occurring beyond the scope of this picture, we also have the ability to look and zoom in and zoom out dynamically if that's the